A few words about the prophet Elijah. He is the image of zeal for God's people. In fact, this gospel reading that we hear today is such a strange one because this is Jesus' hometown. And Jesus says a few words to this crowd of people that are all true. The people of his own city who had watched him grow up, who know his mother, who knew his seeming father Joseph, who know all his brothers, try to kill him. They want to throw him off a cliff. These are his own kinsmen of his own city, and they're ready to push him off of a cliff, like a high place. I've been to Nazareth, and Nazareth is built on hills. And so there was a place where they were going to push him off. And this is so interesting because this is exactly the response Elijah, the prophet, receives in Israel. Elijah is a man like unto us. That is absolutely true, but it doesn't seem like he is, because Elijah is made out of iron. Because he fears no one and does whatever he wants. He goes up to kings and rebukes them to their faces. He kills false prophets with a sword. He does whatever he wants. He calls on fire from heaven on soldiers to destroy them. And Elijah basically fulfills the work of God with this kind of adamant zeal that is so intense that it's like granite. And yet Elijah was a man like us. And so this is what happens to men who pray and live in Christ. They become this adamant. Elijah would not bend even 1 inch from the law. He wouldn't yield even 1 iota. This is how he was. And actually all the Holy Fathers are just like this, actually. Now, was Elijah harsh? No. When Elijah went to the widow, he was compassionate. And he raised up her own son. When Elijah saw the poor, he was merciful. When he saw the kings, he was not. He was harsh with them because the kings were evil. So he had integrity. This is how we should be like. We should fear no one. The Christian person should be just like Elijah. He shouldn't be arrogant. He shouldn't be brazen. He shouldn't be wild in his actions. He should be measured, but he should be fearing no one but God. And so Elijah is this great symbol of what zeal looks like. Is he a man? Well, he is. He is a man. But I don't know, because he's taken up into a fiery chariot. He's beyond things. And yet, he is a man like us. That's what the Holy Prophet James says. The holy brother of Christ. The holy Bishop of Jerusalem. He says that Elijah is a man like us. And yet, through prayer, he became something different. And so by God's grace, we should all become as Elijah is. We should become as he is. We need to pray to Elijah a lot because Elijah is the one who will contend with the Antichrist when he comes. And we are in a time that seems very close to that. Every generation says that. But Elijah is the one who will stand against the Antichrist and he will rebuke him to his face and he will be killed by the Antichrist and by his people. But Elijah will be just as adamant to the Antichrist as he was to the evil kings of his own time. And we should be just as adamant in our own time. Beloved, Elijah is so powerful that nothing overcomes him. I don't know if you know this, but in Chernobyl, there was a church dedicated to the Holy Prophet Elias, the Holy Prophet Elijah. And to get to that church, you have to put a lead suit on to walk to that church. But if you go to that church, you can take your lead suit off and pray in the church because it has no radiation in it. And so the Holy Prophet is literally this man who does what he wants. If he doesn't want radiation in his church, there won't be. If he doesn't want to obey wicked kings, he won't. If he wants to proclaim God's words, he will. The prophet does whatever he wants, but he does what God wills. And that's what his will was. And that's what our will should be. And may it be so, always, now, and ever, and to the ages of ages.